WRPB Treasure Coast Video, introducing the local candidates for election 2020.
Let's look at that main camera. Hi, this is Spencer Rutledge, WRPB Studios, and we're doing Candidates 2020. And with me we have Reggie Sessions. Reggie, welcome aboard.
Nice
Glad
to
to
be
have
here.
you.
Glad to be here.
And so, we're doing this as kind of a public service so that the voters get to know the candidates. And so, I think with a few fair questions, they'll get a sense for you and the office that you're running for and so forth. So, we just want the people to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
So maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your background.
Well, again, my name's Reggie Sessions, Commissioner of the City of Fort Pierce. I'm an incumbent in this race. I was recently honored by the Florida League of Cities giving 20 years of service into political office. And that amounts to about 8 terms. And I'm here again running for the City Commission of the City of Fort Pierce, a city that I love so dearly, a city that I was
You grew up in Fort Pierce, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Born and raised right here in the city of Fort Pierce. But for going off to college and law school, I've never been anywhere else other than living here in the city of Fort Pierce.
I think that kind of gives you an advantage, doesn't it, in doing the job?
Well, yes. I mean, I know the inside and outs of the city of Fort Pierce and locally, the local politics. I've been involved in all sorts of races, from the governor's race to the city commissioner's race, and I know local politics pretty good. Even when I lost, I predicted that I was going to lose. But a lot of individuals have relied on me in that expertise area that I believe in terms of local politics. I know my county and my city pretty well. Yes, and as far as my office is concerned, I'm here again to run for office. So
you have run for office and been in office for a number of years, 20 years off and on. What made you decide to get into politics in the first place?
Well, my grandparents raised me from 8 months old, and my grandmother always had a dream, and she installed in me as a child being an attorney. She worked for attorneys in Vero and Fort Pierce, and they played an important part in my life. And on the other hand, my grandfather, he installed in me the way to go and make a difference was to be a politician.
So he felt pretty strongly about that. Huh?
He even suggested instead of going to school for engineering that I go for political science. But I decided that, to graduate with an electrical engineering degree and subsequently go off to law school. So my grandparents had an influence on me, and my grandfather.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Mine did too, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm blessed.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
If it had not been for them, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. So they had a great influence on me.
So you listened to them. You kind of stepped out into that arena.
Yes.
What was that like way back when?
Well, it was just for them to see me walk across the stage with the Juris Doctrine, and for my grandfather to see me win an election. It was so gratifying because they had worked very hard, and their blood, sweat, and tears put me through college and law school. And of course, I wasn't married at the time, and the only person that I had, as far as the closest person in my life, were those two individuals. So just to see them be happy and the gratification, it really impacted me. And I've been practicing and involved in politics for the most part my whole adult entire life.
Yeah. So what was it like those early years, first few years that you were in politics?
The first few years, to be honest with you, I know for a fact I wasn't as effective as I am now. And the reason being is because it takes a couple of years just to get to know the political arena and learn your job. And the city of Fort Pierce, the constituents, and the city at large, they pretty much educated me and molded me into being what I am now. And as a result of that, I've gotten a wealth of experience. I've gotten a wealth of networking where I'm able to network from Jacksonville all the way down to Miami, knowing different mayors and commissioners, and it's helped me out tremendously to be able to do the best that I can in my capacity as city commissioner.
So maybe some of the viewers may understand the city commissioner job and others may not. Tell us a little bit about the office that you're running for and some of the things that the viewers would like,
Okay.
voters need to know.
Well, the city of Fort Pierce is ran by 4 commissioners and 1 mayor. And in order to win an elected office, you have to live in your district. And the individuals in that district, which is my district, is District 1, have to vote you in. However, even though your district votes you in, your power and control is at large. So my vote in District 1 would have just as much impact in District 2 because we have the same voting power. There are 4 commissioners, as I pointed out, and 1 mayor. And the mayor, she is voted in at large. And the mayor has pretty much, for the most part, she doesn't have any more power than the commissioners do, other than the fact that she's voted in at large. But each individual has a vote, 3 votes majority, 2 minority. We address issues such as the police department, public works, code enforcement. In the city of Fort Pierce, we have Fort Pierce Utilities Authority. However, there is an agency that runs the Fort Pierce Utilities Authority, and that's the board itself, but it's owned by the city, so we control that too as well.
You know, Reggie, I get the sense in talking with people over the years that they see the mayor of cities as being the most influential, but they're just part of a team.
Right. Especially in Fort Pierce, we don't have a strong mayor. Some cities have a strong mayor where the mayor is actually like the city manager. But our charter dictates that our mayor is at large, and she pretty much doesn't have any more power than I do, other than she cuts more ribbons than the rest of us. And of course, she gets more invitations.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the mayor really doesn't have any much more power than the other 4 city commissioners. Yes.
So here we are in 2020.
Yes.
We have very interesting elections nationally and locally. So in the race, your race that you're in, what are the issues surrounding the race for your candidacy?
Well, I feel that, first of all, the city has come a long ways in terms of removing that negative stigma. Before the pandemic came along, we were probably at our best economic state than we've been in a long time. We have more homeowner building permits being pulled before the pandemic in the history of the city. There's an upswing of the economy. We have companies such as Starbucks, Wawa's, Chick-fil-A's, and the list just goes on and on and on of businesses that have come here and where they've done assessment studies and they see the progression of the city in terms of the growth and development, and they're investing. So that's a clear indication right there that we're doing some of the right things. We're doing a lot of the right things. However, there are some issues. For instance, in my area, there are some issues, racial issues, and that's not just Fort Pierce, that's nationwide. Here within the past 10 to 12 months, a lot of issues have arose as a result of a lot of racial tensions, things that are happening, discrimination, police department issues, things of that nature. So those are a lot of key issues right now. I've taken the forefront to be, as much as I can, try to change as far as the issues dealing with the racial issues. Another key issue in my district is the utilities authority. My district suffers, in my opinion, and a lot of my constituents, tremendously where our bills are disproportionately higher than the city at large. And those are issues that I have taken a lot of times a strong position in trying to change. However, with the 3-2 vote, it's been rather difficult. And I honestly do feel that not only my race, but there are some other races that could make a difference in that 3-2 vote that would impact this city at large. So I tell my constituents all the time, I need your support, but I want you to pay close attention to the other races, because if we are going to make a great impact, we're going to have to watch those and try to make a difference as well. So, again, the Utilities Authority, the Police Department, and the crime,
Those are important
very
issues.
important issues right now in District 1. Yes.
Well, I believe passionately in local government, the importance of it, and in having good candidates. And so the last question that we ask all our candidates are, so what are your qualifications for office? They should be obvious, but let's just talk about them a little bit.
Well, my qualifications for office is my track record. I have fought very hard as far as being the city commissioner of the city of Fort Pierce in terms of taking these issues serious that I mentioned, and so many other issues, even to the point that a lot of times I was not a part of the majority, but the minority in terms of numbers of voting, because I didn't go with what was politically right. I had the humanitarian approach. When you look at what I did with COVID-19, I was the only elected official here in this area that sponsored COVID-19 testing, as well as food giveaways. I personally sponsored food harvesting giveaways. Also, the mask giveaways with masks, where we teamed up with the health department and we gave away about 6,000 masks. So when you ask me that question, what qualifies me, my track record?
Yes.
I'm a humanitarian. I'm not a politician. And I feel that the future of Fort Pierce is great. I've even heard my opponent say in a previous debate, great things are happening in Fort Pierce. Well, guess what? If great things are happening in Fort Pierce, then why are you running against me? But that's an issue that I really don't understand, but it is what it is. But I've taken the position, while I am strong and passionate about issues, especially when it involves people that are not, that don't have the financial wherewithal and the ability and the representation that they do. I don't like people being taken advantage of, and I will not abuse. And it's based again on my track record. I don't abuse this position. I use this position to try to get and make things happen for those people. And I'm not a District 1 only commissioner. When issues involve District 2, I'm on it. I'm entertaining those issues. I try to do as much as I can for District 2 that I do for District 1. But one thing I cannot tolerate is those that are in District 1 being taken advantage of. So I ask people to look at my track record. When you watch the TV on Channel 27, I don't have to sit here and talk about what I've done. All you have to do is know the record. And if you observe what I've done and seen it over the years, it speaks for itself.
That's right. Reggie, we're at the top of our time. I just want to ask you one last question, and is there anything else we haven't covered that you'd like to say to the voters?
No, other than the fact that I understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we are facing some critical times, and we've had so many different issues to come up. We're talking about things that were resolved back in the 60s, and they come back to haunt us all over again. The pandemic, the crisis itself, it's going to make it one of the most difficult elections, probably in our generation and lifetime. But as I heard the President of the United States say once, and I may not agree with who he is, but one thing I do agree with what he said: this is probably the most important election in the history of the United States.
That's right, folks. And so you've heard it from Reggie, and we're saying, hey, get out the vote in 2020.
Please get out and vote. Let's not take this lightly. Let's get out and vote and make record numbers and be heard.
Reggie, thanks for being on with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah.